Morning everyone. My name is Maulana Akmal, and today I will explain about one of the adaptation, that is ecranization. So let's just start it. What is ecranization? Ecranization is the process of adapting a written work into a visual form. It gives a different experience from the original story without losing the main content of the story. Ecran in ecranization comes from French language, which means screen or display. Ecranization can be described as the adaptation of written work, such as a novel or book, that transforms into a film through visual, audio, and real-life characters. Here's the example of ecranization. I used the perks of being a wallflower for my example. On the left is original work, novel, and on the right is a second work, film. This original work is written in 1999 and then adapted into film in 2012. It took so many time to transform from the original work into the second work. The novel and the film have the same story, but however, there are some parts are different, like characters, conflict, story are getting shorter or changed in the film, so they can fit the film limited duration. Therefore, the film may not be as detailed as when you reading a novel like that. Okay, so here's the differences between novel and film. Novel, a text-based form of storytelling, long, detailed, and complex plot, allowing readers to have a wide imagination. And film, an audio-visual form, showing an adapted storyline. Imagination is shaped by the present visual. Okay, in a novel, the story is and plot is shown in more detail, while in the film, usually only took around 2 or 3 hours, maybe. So not every detail in the novel can be shown in the film. Reading a novel can imagine the characters and story freely in their own minds, while in the film you cannot like that. The characters and story are already shown clearly, so people may not imagine the story and characters as freely as when you're reading a novel. Okay, so here's the process of ecranization. There are three processes: reduction, addition, and modification. Okay. Reduction, reducing parts of the story in the novel to be adapted into a film. Reduction, which means removing some small or less important scenes from the novel because the film have limited duration. And addition, adding some new scenes in the film that are not in the novel, which means adding new scenes or elements that are not in the novel to make a film more interesting and exclusive. And modification, changing parts of the story such as plot, characters, or setting to fit the film, which means changing the part of the story, characters, or also dialogues to make the film more fit and better. Okay, so why changes happen? Here's the reason: the growing popularity of the original work, expanding the reach to a broader audience, presenting the story through a new visual experience, providing a fresh interpretation or perspective, creating commercial profit through the film industry. Okay, these changes happens for many reasons. Sometimes the director have their own perspective, interpretation of the story, and also the film have limited duration. So not every detail or part of the story can be included in the film. The popular of the novel can be one of the reasons this adaptation is happen. It often get adapted into film, so people may enjoy the story in different way. It also can attract a new audience who may not like into reading a novel. So here's the advantages and disadvantages. Advantages: reaching a wider audience, visual and audio experience, easier to understand, increasing popularity of the original work, new interpretation and perspective. And disadvantages: loss of detail, changes in story elements, limited duration, different interpretation, and risk of disappointment. Okay, the last is conclusion. Ecranization is the process of changing a written work into a visual form, like a film. This happens because the story needs to be adjusted to fit visual needs and to give a new experience to the audience. Even though ecranization makes the story more interesting and reaches more people, it also involves some changes such as reducing and adding some part of the story because of limited time and different needs from the novel. Overall, ecranization is made to present a story in a more modern and easy to enjoy way. Okay guys, I think that's all for my explanation about one of the adaptation, ecranization. I hope you guys understand what is ecranization. Thank you and see you. Goodbye.